Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to be looking at how to create and deploy an AI powered chat application using Cloud Run on Google Cloud. So we'll be leveraging the APIs in a web application and then we deploy it to Cloud Run using Cloud Build and artifact repository to store the container image of the application build. Now this application, I think what's special about this method of building a chat application is that you can use it as a starting point for your web interfaces using Gemini API. Um, because by the time we deploy this, we'd see that we already have our default starter files, and then you can customize it, build upon it based on your own preferences. So first off, we are going to build a Docker image to run the application using Cloud Build. Then we'll deploy a Cloud Run service that executes the application. Then would review the starter code. That's the Python code to understand how the application utilizes Gemini model via a chat session. So let's get started. So once you get into your Google Cloud, um, the first thing I want to do is to set up the environment. And to do that, you want to go to Cloud Shell. This is the Cloud Shell. So you want to activate it. You click on it and you say continue. I'm going to increase this. Okay. Authorize. Right. So at this point, let me increase it further. Okay. Yeah. So at this point, we have activated our Cloud Shell. So the first thing you want to do is to first off, you want to run this code, and basically what it does is to copy, let me get that, is to copy down the folder where you have source files. So you want to run this. I'm going to put all of these codes in the description below. So you're going to run this. Once you run that, the next thing you do is to navigate the folder. So if you do ls, it lists everything you have, about 2 folders. So we want to get into this folder, the chat flags Cloud Run. So we are just going to cd inside it. So we have this. So now you're in. If you want to list again, you have the app.py file, you have the Docker file, you have the README, the requirements, and then the template. So these are the files and then the folders you would typically need for a basic chat app. So the next thing I want to do is to set up the region and project environment variables. So to do that, we are going to use the keyword export. So we say export project ID, then put in your project ID, which is usually found here, and then export region. You fill in your region. So you're just going to run that code. You put it down here and then you run it. So we have set region to US Central 1. So the next thing I want to do at this point is to build a Docker image. So you want to build a Docker image, and to do that, the first thing you want to do is to set the environment variables required. So once we build the Docker image, then you can reference a container image to deploy the application to Cloud Run. So like I said, we are going to set the environment variables first. So you use that same keyword export, and you give your artifact repository or registry name and then the API name. So there you go. And the next thing I want to do is to create the artifact repository. So to create the artifact repository, you say gcloud artifact repository create. Then you specify the variable that calls up the name of the artifact repository, which is chat app repo. So I'm just going to paste. I'm going to paste the code. So this is what you use. Then you call up the region and then Docker. So it's going to work that out, and after that the next thing we do is to configure the Docker authentication and then submit the container image build job to Cloud Build. So to do that, we are going to use this piece of code. And this should take okay. So it might just take a little time, so I might just have to pause this video and then come right back. So at this point, this is done. You have status success. So this is done. So you want to verify if the image is actually now pushed to artifact registry. So how you do that? You go to the search, you look for artifact. Yes, artifact registry. You open that up. I'm just opening it in another tab, and there you go. This is what we just pushed. A chat app repo. That's it. Okay. So the next thing we'd do now is to deploy the application to Cloud Run. So we want to deploy the application to Cloud Run. So, yeah, we want to deploy our application to Cloud Run, and now that the application has been downloaded and built via Cloud Build, at this point, like I said, we deploy it to Cloud Run and also test it on Cloud Run. So to do that, you will run this piece of code. You will run this piece of code, and it's going to take a few minutes. So you can also read up the documentation on artifact registry, on let me get that, on artifact registry. Let me put that here. So this is you can read up this documentation on artifact registry, cloud.google.com artifact registry. So you can read that up, and also the documentation on Cloud Build. So you can read all that up. So just a rundown of what we are doing. We copied some source code. If you don't like the source code, you can use yours, right? And we built everything on Cloud Build, and now we want to deploy on Cloud Run. So that's just what we are doing, or what we have done so far. So this is going to take a while. I think I will just pause this video again and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is done, and the next thing we are going to do is to launch the application. So to do that, you will find the service URL provided. So this is it. This is the service URL. So this is what we are looking for. So we want to take this and open it. So this is the default app. So and you can just try it out. Query it. What is Google Cloud? I would expect it to know this. Okay. Okay. Recipe for pasta. So it spits out all of these things. Well, so there you go. Let's get back to. So we have a basic chat app that's working. So the next thing I want to do now is to look for our source code and exploit. So in Go Cloud Shell, this is where we are. You want to click on Open Editor, and so this is what we are looking for: the chat Flux Cloud run. So when you expand this, you have all of those files and folder that we did see when we used the list command. That's the ls, right? So we have the app.py. In the templates, we have the index.html, and let's inspect that first. So we have got it. So we have the index.html, and it happens to contain the style. So you can take this out, I mean the style, and then create a style.css that you'd connect via the rel sheet in the HTML, in the index.html. Okay, so you can always redo this for a better interface. The actual default app has a very basic interface UI. So this is the JavaScript section. So everything is just put into this index.html. So let's take a look at so this is a Docker file. This is a requirements text. This is just what we need. Flux. This. Okay. So we're just going to look at the app.py. So this is a Python file. So we have functions that create session, that um, retrieves response, and all that. So this is just the basic content of this file. So for the create session, maybe I should. So yeah, this method creates a new session with Vertex AI using the Gemini. So in this case, we use Gemini 2.0 Flash. You can always change this model, right? And like I said, the response function retrieves the response. So I think we'll just end this video here. So basically, the point of all of this is, at this point, we have a deployed app, and once we deploy the app, it comes with a starter file. So now you can build on top of the starter file. And because it's already deployed, at every build, I mean, while you progress in adding to this code, you can always refresh that URL to see what it looks like. So you are testing it as you improve or build upon the code. So we're going to end this video at this point. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.